Welcome to the Winter 2023 Wellness Academy, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to Sophie Higgins, who is joining us from Hawaii to teach us. Right now, I think this is super important for those of us that want to work in this space to learn from a professional because virtual is not going away. So the more we learn to do to make our business grow hybrid or virtual or I think the better, right? The more polished we'll all be. So, Sophie, we're delighted to have you. I'm really thrilled that you said yes to this. Take it away, please.
I am really, really excited, and thank you so much, Debbie, for inviting me to speak here today to talk to you about something that I'm really passionate about: how to grow your visibility and your credibility with great online content. Maybe you feel like this girl here, that you have this great product and service, but you struggle with how people find you. And I know from myself that standing out in a crowded online space can be a real challenge, but also that creating high quality content is really a great way to build reputation and attract a following. I know because I've gone from 900 to more than 10,000 followers on LinkedIn in less than 2 years. And if I can do it, you can do it too.
Wow.
And so, what I have found actually is some statistics that show that content marketing really does the trick. And here are some statistics from Demand Metric. What they have found is it keeps the reader's attention, it improves brand loyalty, it generates leads, and you have an increase in direct sales. And then the cost is also 60% less than traditional marketing. So per $1 spent, content marketing generates approximately 3 times as many leads as traditional marketing. So it's definitely worth looking into. And then the other thing is it gives the consumer control of the brand information they receive. And that's part of why content marketing is more effective than traditional ads and other types of marketing. And I don't know if you know this, but I know this to be true for myself, that 44% of people ignore direct email. How many of you, when you see your inbox, just go through and click delete, 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 delete? I know I do that a lot.
Yep. Yes.
And then also 91% of all email users unsubscribe from company emails. And 86% skip TV ads. When you have the choice of watching a movie, skip ads. I do that all the time, including on YouTube. So 60% of people are inspired to seek out a product after reading content about it. And 70% of people would rather buy from a company through articles than through ads. So the thing is, we really want to be in charge of our own experience. So this whole thing about being subjected to all this information that just comes at us and overloads us, we don't really appreciate that so much. What I want to say is that great content is really key to help people find you. It builds your visibility and your credibility, and it generates leads. This is a testimonial you can find on my LinkedIn page that I got after I had spoken at one of his masterclasses. That was happening because I met him through LinkedIn. So again, this whole thing about building your network on LinkedIn by being visible on the platform, it generates a lot of different opportunities, and you never know where it's going to take you. I also found this statistic from someone who had looked into where they got their leads from, and the majority of their leads actually came from organic Google searches. So that points to how important it is to have well-written content and have a website that's active with content, so you keep getting hits on your page. And also, this strategy helped me and my new book make #1 international bestseller in one day, and I spent no money on ads. It's all content marketing.
Wow.
What I want to share with you today is how you can grow visibility and credibility with great online content. And then I also want to give you a few tips and strategies that you can use to improve your own online presence. Just a little bit about my background and why I'm so passionate about this. I just love learning. Let me just state that out loud. I have more than 20 years of experience in education, thought leadership, consulting, and management. I have 3 master's degrees. I've published 6 books, These are the 5 books I've published in Danish. I am very passionate about making the complex simple and really improving learning outcomes. And it all came from my first experiences as a teacher, where I had this group of 30 high school students, and at the first exam, I told you all this great stuff, and only 3 people seemed to have really understood what I was talking about. So that was when I realized I have to completely reconfigure my approach to this. And so that's why I wrote all these books as well. So that really gave me fuel for diving deeper into how we actually learn. Now, I offer course creation support services to empower professionals just like you to turn their passion into meaningful and profitable online courses. And my services include coaching and curriculum development and technical support and marketing guidance. My mission is to help experts establish themselves as thought leaders in their industry through effective online courses and content and workshops. And I'm really passionate about helping other people to succeed in the e-learning space. And I've helped many clients achieve success with their online courses and build a reputation. And I have a proven track record of delivering quality services and achieving measurable results. And most importantly, I walk the talk. I do what I encourage other people to do, and it's worked for me. And if it's working for me, it can work for you as well. I want to talk about how you can grow your visibility and credibility with great online content. First and foremost, my experience is that we have to start by understanding our audience and their needs. Take a moment to think about your ideal student for your class, or your ideal customer, your ideal client. Who are they? What is their desire, their dream, their frustrations? What is it that they are thinking about? And then encourage you to do surveys and interviews to help understand people. This is one of the worksheets from my book where I talk about what you actually know about your audience. I ask questions as, what is their burning desire? How do you actually know? What do you think you know? And what would you like to find out? And the reason for this exercise is actually from when I did my Master of Business Coaching, where one of the exercises in the class was to sit in front of another person in the classroom and then share something about this other person that I knew for a fact to be true about the other person. And what I realized through that exercise was I actually didn't know a whole lot. I could say something about what they looked like on the outside, of things I could observe about them. But to talk about something, their thoughts, their dreams, their frustrations, I didn't know. So I realized that really knowing someone else and knowing their dreams, their frustrations, their challenges, their desires, I have to have conversations with people in order to really know about that. So that's what I'm really encouraging. And a lot of my questions in the first chapters of the book is about how you can get to know your audience through different methods. When it comes to course creation, one of the key questions is to ask yourself, and you can use the same question if you're creating some kind of content that provides value about what you do, is what is it that your audience is supposed to be able to do differently after reading your content or taking your course or your workshop or being in this masterclass. So it's all about thinking, okay, so this is what they're supposed to get out of this. And then how will I take them from their current reality or where they are right now to where they want to be? So it's all about getting to know your audience so you can see your content through the eyes of your audience. And in the book, there's a bunch of other resources that will help you really understand your audience. Like I have a discovery questionnaire, and also looking at your unique combination, which is so important to identify where you really can provide something transformational for your audience. And then the audience burning desire worksheet. I have a smarter goals worksheet, market research worksheet, audience research survey, and competitive research template. It's all about laying the foundation for your online presence. Once you are clear about your values, your skills, and your offers, your unique combination, then one of the tips and strategies is to have a professional website to show your skills and experience, and also to have somewhere to send people, because every piece of content needs to have a clear call to action. So when you have a website that showcases who you are and your expertise, then you can send people there to learn more. Also, I really encourage you to participate in online communities just like this one and networking groups to connect with like-minded individuals and expand your network. And it's also the cheapest way to do marketing and to generate leads, because all you really put into it is your time and maybe a small membership fee. But compared to what you would spend on ads, trust me, I've been there. It can be like just a hole in the ground you dump your money into, and it's just not worth it. And then also to collaborate with other thought leaders in your industry to increase your visibility and credibility. And that's exactly how I got Dr. Ivan Meisner to do the foreword to my new book, because I asked for an interview with him as a BNI member. So that's how butterfly effect of many things happening before I actually got that forward to my new book. So I'm very happy about that. And then another thing is to really build a strong social media presence by posting regularly and engaging with your audience and sharing valuable content. And when you look at the research out there, consistency is key. Once you start, you have to be consistent with it, to be willing to show on a consistent basis who you are and what you offer. And so that's also something to think about when you decide, for example, to have a newsletter. How many days consistently can you commit to do that? So knowing myself, I made a choice of doing a monthly newsletter, because that I can commit to. Had I done weekly, I would have been exhausted. I know that about myself. So that's just one of the things also to keep in mind. And then to offer free content, blog posts, webinars, classes, articles, newsletters, all to showcase your expertise and attract potential clients or customers. But then you might think, oh, darn, that's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm able to do that. And that's where my key takeaway, and if you're only going to remember one thing from today, it is repurpose your content. Make it easy for yourself. And I just want to show you how I actually go about repurposing my content. So if I have a webinar recording like this one, I can put it into my transcriber tool. I use Otter, and then I get the raw text out. And then I can create a long form article based on the recording and the transcript, and turn that long form content piece into content that will suffice me for a whole month. Small blog posts, small memes. If I set aside one day a month to create content, I have enough content for the entire month. And so that's really something that makes my life easier. And once I found that method, I can commit to that. And then having a software that distributes my content, that helps too. And then the other thing I want to say is people also like when it's just a little low-key, that I'm showing who I am in my environment without really being salesy. I don't have anything to say about it, but just sharing an experience. And you can see at the analytics that a post like that gets a lot of impressions. So again, in LinkedIn, you can look at your own posts, you can look at how they are performing and do more of what's performing good and maybe less of what's performing not so good. Another really practical tip I want to give you is that great content, when you create that, keep the end goal in mind. It's like walking around with a treasure map. And when you know where the treasure is buried, it's much easier to create content that really provides value, that has a clear structure and a clear flow of information. And then this is a really, really simple structure that you can use for all pieces of content. The first thing to think about, again, is the end goal. What's the call to action going to be? What is it that they are going to either get out of this, or how are they going to act after reading or engaging with your content? Are they going to book a call, get more information, get your book, whatever that may be, but have a clear call to action that you're writing towards. And then one big idea. So what is it exactly that people are going to get out of this? In this case, it's how to grow your visibility and credibility through great content. And then have a headline that's catchy. And you can use some of the different headline tools to analyze how the headline is performing with emotion words, power words, and different things like that. And I talk more about that in the book as well. And then you want to identify maybe 3 simple steps that people can take. And repurposing your content is one step. Having a clear structure is another step. So thinking in those terms when you plan your content out. And then the last thing I want to say is just experiment and have fun with it, because it is a process. And if you need any inspiration, I have a small mini course here about how to write great copy for social media, where I go over how to choose a winning topic, how to generate and structure your ideas, how to make captivating headlines using SEO keywords. And then I have a couple of templates that will help you actually just fill in the blanks, and then you have your pieces of content, and then how you can use storytelling as well. And then also my book and my flagship course goes over in detail what I've been talking about here today, and also how you can actually really get to know your audience and then create great content and put it in a learning management system, and then getting ready for launches and relaunches with email campaigns, webinars. There's templates for everything in there. Just to recap what we've gone over is just giving you a few tips and strategies for how you can grow your visibility and your credibility with great online content. What I want to also say is just remember that growing a business is a process. Rome was not built in a day, and there's a reason why we have that saying. It takes time, it takes effort and consistency. But I know you can do it. And then again, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions or have you share your thoughts about this. And please reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. And you can find more information on my website or reach out through my email. So that was my little presentation that I had prepared. And then the floor is open for questions, comments. Thank you so much.
Sophie, you're amazing. Oh my gosh. Can we just take that and osmose it into us? So succinct, right? Oh, wow. Here's a couple things I heard, ladies. Gold nuggets, content. You must have a clear call to action. All these webinars and podcasts and things you're doing, are you wrapping them up with a call to action? That's gold nugget. The butterfly effect, beautiful. These LinkedIn contacts are gold. Have a newsletter, commit to a time frame that you honestly feel you can do without drowning. So Sophie chose once a month. I've chosen once a month. Free content, have articles, and then a process to work. I love this, Sophie. A webinar using Otter AI to get into long form, which becomes an article, and it kind of highlights the key content, right? Committing 1 day per month to produce content equals a whole day of social media content prepared. That's
A
cool.
whole month, a
Is that
whole
what you
month
said?
of, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
That's gold for me to hear that.
The dedicating 1 day a month, I love that. But I have some questions about how do you kind of get yourself in that mindset? Like, how do you do that? Where does the discipline come from?
Yeah, I think it is really from the benefit of it. So when I started out, I was so stressed out that I had to remember each day to post. So it disrupted my day. I was like stressed out about it. And then when I got a content calendar, like I know that I need to create this content. And then also got a tool to help me schedule the content. So I actually have a platform that once I have created all my content, I put it in there, and then it's just waiting to be sent out at the time I have defined for it. So in that way, that helped me to sit down, because then I can actually produce a lot of content in the same day. And then the other thing is, because I love visuals, as you can probably tell on the presentation, I love to play in Canva. And so that becomes just kind of an inspiring, fun thing for me to sit and be creative with the content. So I think it's finding the angle that makes it fun for you. And then the other thing is also that the call to action can be read the long form article, because then you get traffic to that. So again, it helps build on your back end and also in Google searches that you have more traffic going to your content.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sophie. I just have a question. Someone told me about, I use Kajabi for my course and
Mhm.
also my website. And then someone recently told me that Google doesn't really like sites that are on Kajabi and these kind of platforms. It's not great for SEO. I wanted to get your opinion on that before I like switch everything over.
Yeah, and actually what I do, I have my WordPress website, and then I have my learning management system that is linked directly. I have just a course tab, and you can do that with your Kajabi website. So you don't have to give everything up, just
Mhm.
telling you that.
Okay.
But in website like WordPress, you can, it's a little technical, but you can create a CNAME and then it will redirect. So you get the URL from your website
Mhm.
into the course name, just with
Okay.
something in front of it. So my website is sophiehhiggins.com and my courses is courses.sophiehhiggins.com. So that's what I can do on the back end to make it like branded, even though
Okay.
it's two different platforms, but the audience don't know that because
Okay.
it's from my website that you go there. So for the purposes of growing SEO, there is a point in that. And
Mhm.
the point is that the organic website searches like hyperlinks between different things. And so in my blog posts also, I like to reference other people's stuff that I find, just like I did with the studies I had from demand metrics. That also helps with the ranking.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hello. Thank you
Hello.
so much for all of the information. I'm like taking all these notes. It's really awesome. So you have talked about LinkedIn quite a bit. Do you find that to be kind of like the one platform where you focus, or do you use others? Like, kind of what is your strategy as
Yeah,
far as that piece?
that's actually a really good question, because when I started out, I was like, oh, there's all these platforms. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. And so I was reading up on that, and I found that just focusing on one platform was recommended, just to give myself a good start on that platform. And then also choosing the platform where your audience is. I know my audience, because I do business to business, that's LinkedIn. But for a lot of other people who are doing business to customer, it's maybe more Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever your audience is.
That makes sense. One more thing too, when you were going through, I think like the structure you talked about, like choosing the headline for your content and how to analyze the headline with SEO and all of that.
Mhm.
Did you say that like how to do that is in your book?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually have a bunch of links in my book to different free tools you can
Okay.
use to analyze your headlines and get scores, and even SEO scores. You can even get SEO recommendations based on what your headline is and get alternatives as well. So it's pretty cool.
That's really interesting. Very
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, one quick question. I've got to move in this direction and I've been putting it off and hesitating. And it seems like I have no problem posting personal stuff, but when it comes to the education and just putting yourself out there and exposing yourself, I guess I just get reluctant. And I know that if we don't move in this direction, it seems like we're just not going to be able to stay up with the industry and how we're communicating with people. When you're posting, is there a certain day of the week or a certain time in the day that you find works better, that gets more responses or more feedback? What are your thoughts and suggestions on that?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. It's actually also a really good question. So I was using MailChimp for a while, and they have a suggested time to send your content out. So that gave me an awareness that if I need to send out content, I need to schedule it for the morning, because I'm based in Hawaii. So if I want the whole of US to actually see my content, I have to choose morning. So that's one thing. The other thing, I came across another research piece that spoke about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is where people are most hungry for content, because they're kind of in the work week, they're in the work mode. Monday is like a little overwhelming. You have to empty your inbox and all those things. And Friday, you're just ready to go and just get off work. So that can be another idea. But I have also experienced that people have time to read a longer piece of content on Sundays. So sometimes my newsletter, I actually send it out on the weekend because I know that some people like to do that. And so I would say just track how your posts are doing and see when you do your experimentation, see where's your traction the best.
That's awesome. Thank you for that question. That's really helpful.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you so much. We so appreciate your time with us today. I have two questions in regards to the value of having websites up and running, in addition with the other platforms that we promote our businesses in. And then the second question that I have is, what do you see the role of artificial intelligence in the development of content, and how valuable will that be for us to develop our brand?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that question, because I know you've been talking about ChatGPT, and I would say it helps so much also in that having that one day to produce your content, because it will suggest small bits and pieces you can extract from something you've written already, and it can improve what you've written already. So it really helps to make that easier. I want to say, though, that one of the challenges is that the personalized voice sometimes suffer a little bit, is what I can see. So it's a balance of using technology to help you, but still have your own voice, because it's really you that your audience is attracted to. It's not a machine.
The other question is, how important is it for us to have websites up and running?
You can start thinking about it as your business card. So if it's a kind of a daunting task to get a website up and create it, it can be just a static page to begin with, where you have your information and that showcases who you are and what you do. Because people, when they're searching for someone to help them, we are all searching, we're all Googling. And so it's just a good thing to have that. And then when you start having content embedded there that keeps renewing, you can sometimes even integrate your feed from other platforms as well. So you, again, have that activity going on, and you have those different links that go out from your website. So I can definitely see great benefit from it. And also that when you look at the back end of it, you can see what posts get performed best on a consistent basis. You can also see when is your most popular time, when are people actually looking you up. So you get access to some statistics when you have that helps you inform your decisions about what you want to do next.
I think that's great, Sophie, because in our industry, in the fitness wellness industry, there are many, many coaches, a dime a dozen these days, and a lot of not so great, I'm just going to say it, that just want your money, right? And many will tell you, I'm speaking from experience, this is not hypotheses. I had two coaches, and the position was, you don't need a website. Just run. You don't need a website. I didn't know any better. Yes, no, nay, I don't know. I'd had a website for many, many moons and a website designer, and I chose to reactivate him. And girls, I'll just share, it's only $700 a year. And yes, it takes patience. My year 2 in the rebuild, it was my side hustle, so it was kind of weak. When I went into my full-time, this is my business, then I went all in on my website to make sure it was professional. And it mirrored what I wanted my credibility to be and my message and my content. And at year 2, we're doing very different things on my website than we did year 1. My point is, I would rather pay someone who works in that day over day $700 and to share the stats with me than me to mess around for 40 hours in 1 month trying to build a website. I want to be writing content and teaching. And so, it's one of these, but given my experience, I'm affirming what Sophie just said. I do think if you're a professional in the industry, you do need it. And I can't tell you how many folks have gone to my website and said, it's fantastic, or it needs something. I just take it in and I send it to him, and we keep revising. So Sophie, that's great. Because in our industry, there's a lot of coaches saying, just don't bother.
Just from hearing Sophie and everybody, it's just like, yeah, just one page. I don't have to have I can just start with one landing page. That's it. It doesn't have to be all crazy fancy. And I think we get caught up in that. We just get caught up in the fancy details and things like that. So it can be simple.
Yeah, and really simple is good. And also when you think about your own way of approaching websites, if it's too much detail, I really don't want to read it. So short is good, and some visuals. So it doesn't have to be a whole bunch, but it is just having that professional image really, and be brand consistent with that, and just having somewhere to send people if they ask for information or search for information. I got a question in the chat about the content calendar and what that is. And so a content calendar, you can create that like in just a simple spreadsheet, like what date of the month, where you are going to post, and where you're going to link to, what's the topic, and what's the headline. So I actually talk about that also in the book. So it's just a simple way for yourself to keep track when you plan it out. So it helps you see, okay, I have enough content. Some of the platforms have like a visual calendar. So if you have a platform you use to post your content, it will give you that visual. So you can see, oh, now I filled out the whole month. Great. Okay, see you next month.
Well, this is amazing, girls. We've got Sophie's book, which obviously is gold for all of us in this space that are working on this part of our business. And the takeaways are magic today, Sophie. You're such a great educator. You're amazing. This was really good. So ladies, if we're good, let's give Sophie a really big virtual hug. Yep. And thank you from us to Hawaii.
Thank you.